Namo Buddhaya, the Satasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sutram, the large sutra in perfect wisdom, the chapter 65th, the skill in honoring, tending, and revering the good friends. The year with regard to the endeavors. Subhuti. One speaks of a Bodhisattva-pilgrimage of what is synonym. The Lord. As a pilgrimage towards enlightenment, it is called a Bodhisattva's pilgrimage. Subhuti. Where is that Bodhisattva pilgrimage of the Bodhisattva, the great being? The Lord. He courses in that form, etc. is empty. In the same way, he courses in the inner and outer sense fields, in the 6 perfections, the 18 kinds of emptiness, the trances, etc. to the 18 special dharmas of a Buddha, in the purification of the Buddha field, the maturing of beings, in ready speech, in the aspirations for the letters, in the entrances to the letters, in the entrance to what cannot be expressed in the letters, in the dhāranis, in the conditioned element, in the unconditioned element, but he courses in such a way that no dual intellectual act takes place. It is thus that, coursing in perfect wisdom, the Bodhisattva courses toward enlightenment. The error with regard to the jewel of the Buddha. Subhuti. One speaks of a Buddha, a Lord. Of what is that a synonym? The Lord. He is called Buddha as the truly real fact. Moreover, he has fully known the truly real Dharma. He has penetrated to the real meaning. He has fully known all dharmas as they really are. Therefore, is he called the Buddha. The error with regard to the jewel of the Dharma. One speaks of enlightenment. Of what is that a synonym? The Lord. Enlightenment that is a synonym of emptiness, of suchness, of the relative limit of the Dharma element. Moreover, enlightenment is suchness, non-falsehood, unaltered suchness, unaltered existence. Therefore, it is called enlightenment. Moreover, enlightenment is a mere word and sign. Therefore, it is called enlightenment. Moreover, enlightenment means an undifferentiated object. Moreover, because the Buddhas and Lords have it, therefore it is called enlightenment. Moreover, the Buddhas and Lords have fully known it, therefore it is called enlightenment. They are with regard to the jewel of the Sangha. Subhuti. A Bodhisattva who courses towards this enlightenment. Thus he courses in the 6 perfections until he dwells in the knowledge of all modes. And of which wholesome roots is there an accumulation or removal, a diminution or growth, a production or stopping, a defilement or purification? The Lord. A Bodhisattva who courses towards this enlightenment courses in the 6 perfections, etc., to the knowledge of all modes, but to him no accumulation of any dharma takes place or its removal, no diminution or growth, no production or stopping, no defilement or purification. And why? Because the enlightenment of a Bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom is not set up through making a dharma into an objective support or for an accumulation of removal or diminution or growth, a production or stopping, a defilement or purification. If a Bodhisattva's enlightenment has not been set up through making any dharma into an objective support, how then the Bodhisattva acquired the 6 perfections course in the emptinesses, trances, etc., in the great compassion course of on the 10 stages of a Bodhisattva, transcend the level of disciples and particular Buddhas and enter on the Bodhisattva's special way of salvation? The Lord. It is because the Bodhisattva's intellect doesn't course in duality. For it is not through duality that he courses in the 6 perfections. It is thus that the Bodhisattva acquires the 6 perfections and in the end reaches the knowledge of all modes. Subhuti. If a Bodhisattva doesn't course in the 6 perfections by way of duality, how is it possible that for the Bodhisattva's wholesome roots to grow steadily from the first thought of enlightenment to the last? The Lord. The wholesome roots of those who course in duality do not grow. And why? Because all the foolish common people lean on duality and their wholesome roots do not grow. Bodhisattva, on the contrary, courses in non-duality, and his wholesome roots grow from the first to the last thought of enlightenment The world, with its godsmen and asuras, can then not overpower him, and he will not fall on the level of the disciples or particular Buddhas, or partake of any other unwholesome dharmas, which would prevent the increase of his wholesome roots while he courses in the six perfections, etc., to in the knowledge of all modes. It is thus that the Bodhisattva should course in perfect wisdom, Subhuti. Should then a Bodhisattva course in perfect wisdom for the sake of wholesome roots? The Lord. No, indeed, Subhuti. A Bodhisattva courses in perfect wisdom not for the sake of wholesome and stillness, for the sake of, and still less for the sake of unwholesome roots. Through a Bodhisattva cannot reach the knowledge of all modes without having honored the Buddhas, the Lords, having fulfilled the wholesome roots, or having gained good spiritual friends. Subhuti. How does a Bodhisattva reach the knowledge of all modes after he has honored the Buddhas, the Lords, won the wholesome roots, and gained good spiritual friends? The Lord. Here, a Bodhisattva, from the first thought of enlightenment onwards, honors the Buddhas, the Lords. He learns all the dharmas which they teach, the sutra, Gaya, prediction, verses, shouts of triumph, origins. Thus was said. Both stories, expanded text, marvelous tales, and exposition, becomes thoroughly familiar with them in his speech, repeatedly considers them with his mind, penetrated them well with his vision, gains the dhāranis, and produces the analytical knowledges. From then onwards, he never again, ever after he has died, forgets these dharmas until he reaches the knowledge of all modes. He also plants wholesome roots in the presence of the Tathagatas, whom he honors. Upheld by these wholesome roots, he is never again reborn in the states of woe or in unpropitious circumstances. And through these wholesome roots, he acquires the perfect purity of the physical basis. With this foundation, he purifies the Buddha field and matures beings. Upheld by these wholesome roots, he is never again lacking in good spiritual friends, Buddhas and Lords, Bodhisattvas, great beings, and disciples who speak to him in praise of the Buddha vehicle. It is thus that the Bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom should honor the Buddhas and Lords, plant wholesome roots, and tend on the good spiritual friends. This is the end of 65th chapter of the large Sutra of Perfect Wisdom, the Satasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sutram.